Hi everybody and welcome to a Grimdark Future Firefight Battle Report. Eternal Dynasty versus High Elf Fleets. Eternal Dynasty Captain Hasheex was recently defeated in battle against Sergeant Elias and his blood brothers. He has now recovered, but is eager for revenge. He's in search for a base to establish a safe place to gather troops and hunt down Elias. His scouts have discovered a rocky base complex, but the base is captured by a group of warriors from the High Elf fleets. The group is led by Elite Guardian Ilildriel, and his Avengers have left their duties with the High Elf fleet and are now hidden in the complex. If Hasheex wants the complex, he must first defeat the Elves. Ilildriel, the leader, is fast and tough, and he's armed with a chainsword and a laser blaster, and with him he has 5 Avengers. 3 of them armed with shard pistols and energy swords, and 2 of them armed with shard carbines. All of them are fast. Finally, he has a Wraith suit guard, fearless, a tough value of 3, and armed with Wraith cannon. Captain Hasheex has a tough value of 3, and he's a psychic. He's armed with a heavy pistol and a hook sword, and he has a mini drone that gives him the stealth ability. And with him he has a scout armed with sniper rifle. Then he has a warrior armed with long rifle and shishi turret with rockets. 2 further warriors armed with long rifles, and then 2 ninjas with stealth and teleport and armed with autoguns. All of them are fearless. There are 3 objectives on the battlefield, and the mission is simple enough. Whoever controls the most objectives at the end of round 4 will take control over the complex and be able to use it for further operations. Captain Hasheex and his warriors will deploy in the left side of the battlefield as player A, and the rogue Avengers will deploy as player B. And here is how Captain Hasheex and the Eternal Dynasty warriors have deployed, spread out on the entire left flank of the complex. From this position, they will try to reach at least 2 objectives and also capture some of the ruined buildings in the complex. The High Elf Rogue Avengers are already on and inside the rocky base complex, and they will try to make defensive positions and take the high ground and defend themselves as good as they can. They are close to at least 1 objective and possibly also the middle objective. So now let's see who will activate first. The Eternal Dynasty will put their faith in the red dice, and the High Elf Rogue Avengers will roll the blue dice. And the Rogue Avengers will be the first to activate. Let's go to round number 1. The Elves know the complex, and they have to use that to their advantage. So the Avenger here will move through the complex and show up in the doorway, and from here he will target the Dynasty Scout with his shard carbine. 18 inches range. He is in cover, so he will need a 4 to hit, and he has 2 shots, so 1 of them will hit. And the Scout has a rather weak defense of a 5, so he will fail his defense roll. He will be hit by 1 shot, and he will take 1 wound, and then a roll on the wound chart will be a 1, so the Scout is stunned. And immediately the warrior with the rocket turret will target the Avenger. So first he will shoot his long rifle, only 1 shot, but he will hit. A clear hit. It's AP nothing, so the Avenger will have to come up with a 4 in defense, and a 1 is nowhere near enough. He will be taken down by the shot, and the roll on the wound chart is way too much. So first casualty of this battle, the Avenger, he showed up just too close to the Dynasty warriors, and now the warrior can fire his rocket turret and he will target the Avenger on the other side of the building. He does not need a clear line of sight. And he will also hit with the rocket. And besides indirect fire, the rockets also have the blast ability. The elf fails his defense roll, so even though the rocket will blast his surroundings, he will only be hit once. He will take 1 wound, but let's see the roll on the wound chart. And it's also too much to keep the elf alive. He is taken out by the rocket. A very, very effective turn for the Dynasty Warrior. And shocked by 2 casualties already, the Elf Guardian Elite Ilildriel here will move down from the mountain, and he will be able to move just long enough to take the objective. The blue flag will be raised. Captain Hasheex has this time included ninjas in his squad, so 1 ninja here will activate. They can teleport, but this one will only rush towards the rocky base entrance. Next up, another Elf Avenger, this time one armed with sharp pistol and energy sword. Remember, they are fast and they can move 16 inches if they rush or if they charge. And now it's another warrior. They have a really long range with their rifles, 30 inches, and he can see and target the elven leader from his position inside this ruin. Only 1 shot, and he will hit with a 4. And he is again on target. A very effective attack. And Ilildriel is hit, and he will have to defend himself with a 5, and he is not able to do that, so he will lose 1 wound, and he still has 2 left. Another Avenger will advance down from the rocky base, and he will be in cover behind the crate. From this position, he can see and fire 2 shots at the ninja. He will need 4s because of the cover, but 1 of them will hit. The ninja has a weak defense. He will need a 6 to block the shot, and he will go down in the gunfire here. And 1 wound. Let's see the roll on the wound chart. No, he is stunned, but still alive. Another warrior will move into position, aim his long-range rifle, and take a shot at the Elven Avenger here. So let's see if he will be able to hit. No, it's a miss this time. He needed a 4. So instead, the elf will move across the bridge and in cover behind this crate, but he will not be able to fire at any targets from this position. The other ninja also has short-ranged weapons, so instead, the ninja will rush to the second objective and raise the red flag. So now, each of the armies control 1 objective. So finally, the Wraith Suit Guard here will move. He is not fast like the other elves, but he is tough. So he moves into the center of the battlefield. The scout who was hit in the very first turn of this round will recover, and that leaves Captain Hasheex with the final activation of round 1. And he will move along with his stealth drone to this position in cover behind the crates and the middle objective, not yet contested by the Dynasty or the Elves. And that concludes the first round, with a few surprisingly fast casualties on the Elven side, and so far the Eternal Dynasty are at full strength. It looks like a well-coordinated attack on the rocky base complex, and each of the forces control 1 objective. Let's go to round number 2. The elves will once again take advantage of the passageway inside the complex, and this elf will charge the stunned ninja, immediately removing him from the battlefield. So that will be the first casualty of the Eternal Dynasty. And in an act of revenge, the second ninja will first move to the base complex and then teleport on the roof. It has the teleport ability, and from here the ninja can fire 2 autoguns hitting on a 3. And it's 1 hit, and it's a rending hit, so the elf must come up with a 6 to block. Ooh, close. But the elf will go down, hit by autogun fire, take 1 wound, and let's see the fate of the elf on the wound chart. It's a 3, so the elf is only stunned. The Wraith suit is now close enough to fire the very powerful Wraith cannon. So it will fire 3 shots against Captain Hasheex. It has a quality of 3, but it will need more because of Hasheex's stealth drone. So 3 hits hitting on a 4. It will hit with 2 Wraith cannon shots, and it's AP 4. So Captain Hasheex must roll 6s to block. And he blocks the first shot, but fails the second. So he will take 1 wound. But he will survive that. And instead the warrior with the rocket turret will again tune his rifle as well as his rocket against the Wraith suit. First up, his rifle. He hits on a 5. And he will hit again. And the Wraith suit guard has a defense of 3. And he blocks that shot easily. Now the rocket turret. He will hit with a 4 this time because of the indirect fire, but the rocket misfires and will not hit any targets. The Elven Avenger here jumps on the crate and up on the passageway here, and from this position he is within 18 inches of the ninja, so he can fire his shard carbine twice, and he will hit with a 4. And that's a clear hit, and it's also a rending hit. The shard carbine also have the rending ability, so the ninja must block with a 6. And it's not enough. The ninja will be hit, take 1 wound, and again a critical roll on the wound chart. A 5 or more will take the ninja out, but it will barely keep itself in this match with a roll of 4. The scout is back in the game, and he advances up to the ruin here, and here he can take a shot with a quality of 2 on the Elven Avenger who just took down the ninja. So he will hit with a 2 because of the sniper ability. Ooh, and he will hit with the sniper rifle. And this type of rifle is AP 1, so the Avenger must roll 5s. He falls down. Will he be able to survive that? I don't know. He is hit by gunfire. He takes 1 wound. And he is taken immediately out of the game by a very capable round of precision shooting from the scout. So Ilildriel is under heavy pressure now. His forces continue to be shot down by the Eternal Dynasty warriors. And he has to do something on his own. So he will target Captain Hasheex with his weapons. And he is successful. He fires his laser blaster and he will hit Captain Hasheex. It's AP nothing, so the captain will have to make the saves. He makes 1 and fails 1. If he had failed them both, he would have been taken down, but he's still standing. So this warrior will activate now, and he will again take a long shot with his rifle. He will try to wound the Wraith suit. He will hit with a 4 and he is on point, but the Wraith suit guard will block again with a roll of 3. He is very, very heavily armored. And then this Avenger can recover, get back up with 1 activation, but not do anything else. So Captain Hasheex is up next, and he will now move slightly forward, and then he will use his magic. He is a sage with the psychic ability, and he will cast the spell Dragon Breath on the Wraith suit. He will need a 3, so he is successful. His magic attack will do 5 hits against the Wraith suit, and he will need 3s to block those 5 hits. It could potentially be taken out now. Let's see. Ooh, it looks good for the Wraith suit, but he will fail one of the magic attacks, so he will take 1 wound. Captain Hasheex will also fire his heavy pistol, and he will need a 3 to hit. Only 1 shot though. And it's a 6. A clear hit, it's AP 1, so the Wraith suit must roll a 4 now to avoid further injuries. But with a 6, it shakes off the shot, and it has survived the magic as well as physical attacks from Hasheex. But it's not over yet. We have a warrior here inside the ruin. He moves closer, and he takes aim, and he will try to wound the Wraith suit even further. And he hits with his shot, but it's AP nothing, and that shot is not able to penetrate the armor either. And that concluded round number 2. Still 1 objective for each of these forces. The Wraith suit has moved closer to the center of the battlefield. Captain Hasheex has used his magic, and Ilildriel has lost 3 elves, but the elves are not yet down to half strength. We'll see if they can even the odds more in the 3rd round. And the elves will once again activate first because they finished first, and Ilildriel will take the battle to Captain Hasheex. He will charge his full range of 16 inches and attack Hasheex with his chainsword. He has 3 attacks, and he will hit on a roll of 4. And the chainsword is AP 1, but never mind, because he will fail all 3 attacks. Did he really have his heart and mind in this attack? Now he will face Captain Hasheex' attack, and he has a hook sword. Only 1 attack, but it's deadly. So even though it will hit only once, but it won't, he also fails his attack. They will swing their swords against each other, but they will hit nothing, and Ilildriel will move back 1 inch. Now Captain Hasheex has his activation, and he moves back wisely because he is in the gun-firing range of the Wraith suit, and he's very exposed. Instead, he moves back and uses his magic to take out Ilildriel. He will need a 3, but he fails. His magic attack will not harm Ilildriel. Whoa. Very unexpected. None of these leaders harm each other. Instead, the Wraith suit will activate, and he cannot target Captain Hasheex. He's too far away, but he can't find other targets. And by doing so, he also claims the central objective. So right now, the elves control 2 objectives. And he's also within firing range of the warrior with the rocket. So he fires his Wraith cannon 3 times, and he hits with 2 of them because the warrior is in cover. And he will have to come up with 6s to block the powerful cannon, and he is so far off that he will more or less be obliterated and take 2 wounds. Question is, can he survive that? Will he be heavily wounded or out? Well, he is stunned, so he will still be in the game. But he's not able to operate the cannon or the rocket in this round. The wounded scout once again aims his sniper rifle and points it at an elf. He will need only a 2, and once again he barely succeeds. And a 4 is needed for defense, but the elf will fail. He is hit and goes down with 1 wound. And he will, of course, roll on the wound chart. And again a very high roll. The scout is really, really deadly here. He takes out another elf, and that will take the rogue Avengers below half strength. They will face morale tests, and this elf will immediately charge the ninja, and he takes out the second ninja. So no ninjas left. The Eternal Dynasty will have to fight the rest of their battle with the warriors. And the warrior here in cover in the building will aim his rifle at Ilildriel. And he can of course only fire one shot, but he can wound him even further. He will need a 4 and he hits again. They are very reliable with the long-range rifles. And Ilildriel fails the defense roll. He is now on 2 wounds. The Dynasty Warrior here on the left flank will advance up the bridge, and he will target the Avenger on top of the complex. He will need a 4, and they keep rolling 6s with the long rifles. And no defense roll. Again, these rifles, even though they are AP nothing, will continue to wound the elves. And the elves roll 6s as well, but on the completely wrong time. So this elf is also shot out of this match, and it looks hopeless for the elves at the moment. Ilildriel must now face a morale test. He has a quality of 4, so will he pass? He rolls a 2. He has had enough. He realizes that the complex is lost, but what about the Wraith Suit Guard with a quality of 3? He will continue the fight as the only elven unit left, abandoned by his leader and left alone on the middle of the battlefield. But he has 2 objectives, and with 1 round left, the Dynasty Warriors will not be able to reach the objective farthest away from them, so they will have to remove the Wraith Suit Guard to win this battle. Let's go to the 4th and final round. And the Wraith Suit Guard will activate first. Move slightly back at the objective, and then he will fire his cannon at the scout. The scout who took out several units. It's payback time. So he will aim his Wraith cannon. He will hit with force, and he is on target with all 3 shots. And the scout must roll 6s to block any of these Wraith cannon hits. And, well, a really good roll, but no, it's not enough. He will be hit 3 times, and he is already wounded with 1 wound. So 4 wounds totally for the poor scout. That leaves him with only 1 chance to survive, and that is a roll of 1 on the wound chart. Let's see. No, the scout is out. Captain Hasheex is so close now that he can taste victory. He will rush towards the objective, and by doing so he will contest it. The blue banner will be lowered, and he will use his magic against the Wraith Guard. Again, a 3 is needed. He rolls 4, so he will send 5 magic hits against the Wraith Suit Guard, who will block with a 3. So will it be able to shake off the magic attack here? No, no, no. 3 failed defense rolls, and the Wraith Suit will take 4 wounds total and go down. The Wraith Suit fought bravely, and it's only stunned, but it will not be able to do anything further in this round. He was abandoned by his leader. He fought to the last, but now this scout will charge him and remove him from the battle. And with a complete control over the central objective, the red flag will be raised and the victory will be secured. Captain Hasheex and his Eternal Dynasty Warriors have performed a well-coordinated attack on the rocky base complex. They have removed the elves and they stand victorious. From now on, Captain Hasheex can build his squads and turn the complex into an Eternal Dynasty facility from where he can coordinate further attacks and maybe get his revenge over Sergeant Elias and the Blood Brothers. Thanks a lot for watching this battle report. I hope you'll join me for future bad rips.